What's up, guys? I'm just a gamer, and I'm back with my spoiler review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's been a while now, but to get my thoughts, I just didn't want to put this video out until my complete playthrough was up on my channel. But now that it is, I want to get my spoiler review out. And this is probably a really short video because I basically said my thoughts in the last video, just omitted a few certain details. So it's not going to be too long. So just to reiterate, combat wise, I thought was fantastic, beautiful, perfect in every other way. I loved how they differentiated all the characters having their own unique little things. I do feel that some of the moves were a little lackluster, like for example, Barrett's, like his very top last ATB ability, Lifeblood Cannon, didn't really turn out to be all that great in my opinion when I used it, so I don't know. But other than that, I think the combat was fantastic. I think they did a better job of also letting you just like fight in bosses without having cutscenes come up. Now, that's not to say that still doesn't happen. It does, but I just felt like it wasn't as egregious as it was in the first game in Remake. They just fine-tuned it enough where they did it enough to where, I don't know how they did it, but they did it to where it just felt better. Like you were able to get a bunch of damage in, and then the cutscene would go through, and then you would keep going. Like for whatever reason, it just worked better in this game than it did in the last game. Or maybe it's just that since it happened in the last game, we expected it to happen in this game, and we were more prepared for it. So I don't know. Point is, combat was amazing. Obviously, graphically and performance-wise, like I've reiterated a million times, I only have a crappy 1080p TV, 60 FPS. I can't take advantage of 4K and all those other fancy doodads of HDR and all that stuff. So for me, the game looked beautiful, ran beautifully. I played in performance mode because I just appreciate 60 FPS. Yes, there was pop-in here and there, and some of the textures looked a bit ugly, to say the least. But overall, I liked the way it looked. I thought it looked fantastic, and it was great. So down to the nitty-gritty portion of this spoiler review is my thoughts on the story or specific parts of the story and some of the changes that went with it. So quick note for anybody who has been watching or watched my playthrough of Rebirth, as much as I bitched and moaned about things throughout the game, please note that I say that out of a place of love, and overall I did love the game. But there were just certain moments in the story that it just, character motivations just really annoyed me. Because I know we're supposed to be the good guys here, and we're supposed to be, take the high road. But it's like, the Turks killed all these people, innocent people, and we just always let them go. It's just like, what? And then Aerith comes to the defense of some of them. Like, I thought they were good people. Like, she's a good judge of character. She is a terrible judge of character. Absolutely horrible. If she would have let us kill Reno in the first game, we could have probably not dropped the plate. I don't know, probably saved thousands of people's lives. We could have taken out a bunch of other people here. Like, hey, Hojo's right there. Let Red go after him. No, don't let him. Don't do nothing. Why not? Hojo's right there. Go get him. It's just like certain, like, the goody two-shoes act sometimes gets really annoying, and it just bothered me. But again, I say that out of love. I still love the games, love the story. These are the characters I love. It's just like contrivances of the story for them to keep the villains alive. And yeah, so that's just one thing I just wanted to get out of the way. Because as much as I bitched and moaned, I do love the story, I do love the characters. It's just the goody two-shoes act just gets on my nerves once in a while. To Kate Sith, I actually really liked the change they did with him, in the sense of, in the original, the way he joined you was by force. Forgive me, my accent, whatever is killing me right now. He basically, in the original, if I'm not mistaken, he kidnaps or threatens Marlene and Elmira. Like, threatens that if we don't let him come with us and monitor the group, he will, do something to them. Which I always like, yo, if we get the chance, screw this guy. And even in like the compilation later on, you're like, oh, he did the right thing and he let them go and all that stuff. But still, it was just like, dude, he literally threatened this Barrett's child and Aerith's mom. Like, how that? I don't know. This time around, they didn't do that at all, it seems like. And I actually really liked that. I liked the fact that even though we knew he was a betrayer, we still let him in ourselves, which made the betrayal that much more impactful, in my opinion, because in the original, it was like we were forced. He forced his way onto our group, he threatened our loved ones. So why would we, my connection to him in the original wasn't that great, because I was always thought of him, he's more of a villain than anything else. Here in this game, he actually felt like a companion. He actually felt like he was coming up and trying to be friendly with us, even though we knew the betrayal was coming, and when it did happen, it did hurt more. But again, I want to say again that annoying, like, Barrett wants to blow him up, shoot him, and Tifa's like, no, don't. And it's just like, why not? He's a little plastic robot, which he ends up getting destroyed anyway, which we knew was going to happen. And then another one of him pops up. So Barrett blowing him up there wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered at all. It's just like, just to get some of that frustration out. But whatever, again, our characters must be above such things, take the high road. So yeah, the changes to Kate Sis I actually did like, and I think it made the betrayal more impactful, and I feel like the friendship did feel a bit more natural of them getting friendly with each other and stuff like that. So yeah, I actually really did like that. So that's another point. Now obviously the main talking point that this whole thing drags down to is the ending. And I know it's been debated and it's kind of controversial. So overall, I did like the ending. I think it was a good ending. But that being said, it was rather bloated and confusing. I'll say that. Because just so much happens in such a small time frame where for example, throughout the entire game when we've been like checking back in with Zack, we see him taking care of Cloud and Aerith. He's with Elmira, he's with Marlene. And we're with that Zack for the entirety of the game. And then we get to the point where he has to choose between going after Hojo to try to help Cloud or go after Biggs at the bike. And we know this because the Zack we've been following throughout the entire game has Aerith's ribbon tied around his hand. So then the game jumps to different scenes of him with Biggs, him at Hojo's lab, or him at the Shinra building, or him at the church, having been not being able to decide yet between the three, Aerith included, between Cloud, Biggs, and Aerith. And we know the Cloud, the Zack we've been following, is at the Shinra building because that's the one that has the Aerith's ribbon tied around his hand. When we go to see the one with Biggs, he doesn't have it. So automatically that's when I knew. I was like, that's a different Zack. Same thing with the Zack at the church doorsteps. He was a completely different Zack. So it really bothered me that the Zack we end up meeting, fighting Sephiroth with, and going through all that is not the same Zack we had just been with the entirety of the game. So that was like a weird little switch there. And then that also tells us that like when Sephiroth is going through the church doors and Zack is like melting into like the whispers, that is the same world that Cloud and Aerith woke up in. Because that's where, when Cloud is getting also sent back and Aerith is pushing him, trying to fall, and we see the doors open and Sephiroth is coming in. So we can assume that world is where those two were at. So that's why that Zack is in the fight with Cloud, because that's the world Cloud and Aerith were just in. So I understand that, but at the same time, it's like, it's weird because throughout the entirety of the game, we've been following this one specific Zack. And then when it comes down to it, we don't get to see what happens with him. We don't get to see the resolution with the Zack we've been following the entire game. We go to a completely different Zack and follow him and see what happens to him at the end. So I don't know. It's just so, it felt like so like incomplete in that sense of like the Zack we've been following. We don't know what happened to him. We know what happens to a different Zack for the few minutes we saw him and fought as him, but we don't know what happened to our Zack, the one we've been following the entirety of the game. So it just felt a little weird there. But again, overall, I think it's fine. Again, it just felt so convoluted and bloated, because again, like I've seen the reports that apparently like they show off 13 different, or some weird number. They show a bunch of different stamps. I'm not 13. I'm going crazy, but I think that's that high. But they show a bunch of different ones. So it's just like, it's just weird. It's just very, very weird. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe every time we flashed back to Zack, it was a different timeline. Maybe I just wasn't realizing, and that's what people were talking about. But it feels like we were always watching that one Zack, that one moment, that one world, and that's why they, you know, showed him with the ribbon in his hand to indicate, hey, this is the one we've been following. So then it just goes all over the place. It was weird to me. Really, really weird to me. Whatever. Then obviously another thing I think people have been a little off and on is the infamous Aerith's death scene, which she did die, but they didn't show that scene. Which, again, I think it's such a well-known scene. I don't think we needed to see it again. Just the inference of it is enough for us. But I could see where some people wanted to see that iconic scene recreated. I can understand that. But as it was, I'm okay with them the way they did it. That ambiguity they're going for, I guess that's what they wanted. But at the same time, we kind of know, hey, she's gone. She's dead. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it was fine. I think it was okay. I didn't need to see her get stabbed in the back and all. I mean, they showed blood. They showed her covered in blood. They just didn't show the actual stabbing. So, you know, I think it was fine the way it was. Alright, so those were just my, the biggest points I wanted to refer to story-wise that I, enjoyed, liked, just wanted to talk about in general. Obviously there's a bunch of other stuff I could go into. I mean, hundreds, fighting Rufus again and how I sucked at it, but after seeing a video of how somebody else did it, just things like the stuff with Rufus and Glenn being manipulated. Just, again, there's a bunch of stuff I can go into story-wise that I could talk about, but I just wanted to focus on those main things about, Kate Sith, our goody two-shoes attitude, and obviously the craziness at the end with seeing those multiple timelines in quick succession was just a little too much, maybe a little too much. But overall, again, love the game, love the story, so excited to see where they're gonna go next. And I truly do believe that now with Aerith dead how she is, the third game is gonna be almost like she is going to be the angel on Cloud's shoulder, opposite of Sephiroth. How throughout the entirety of this game, Sephiroth has been in Cloud's mind, affecting him, talking to him, trying to, get him to come over to his side. I believe in the third game, Aerith is now going to be there, and she's going to be the opposite, where she's going to try to mitigate that. They're going to be, like I said, the angel and devil's on his shoulder, trying to talk to him to from him having to choose between them. I think that's what they're going to try to do in the next game, and that's also going to go into the fact of how crazy Cloud is going to become, because they're gonna be, the group is gonna be like, Aerith is dead, who are you talking to, what are you talking about? And he's not gonna realize until probably the end of the game that, oh yeah, they're just talking to me. But yeah, that's my one little thought I just had. I'm curious, and I'm also curious as to what they're gonna do with the black materia, with Cloud still having it, because he also has the white material here. It's clear now, so it's so weird. So many different things they can go on with. But regardless, again, this was my spoiler review. These are just a few little talking points that I just felt like I wanted to talk to and iterate for my review of why I just want to get out. Because overall, I think the changes overall were better for the story. I did like, again, the changes to Kate Sith's character, even though, the reason I was so angry is because the betrayal was even more so because he did feel like the friendship was grown more naturally than as in the original. He just threatens Marlene and Elmira. He threatens them to force us to join, let him join. And then obviously my annoyance at everyone's goody two-shoe attitude, not letting us just kill these gosh darn Turks. There was bad people. They're responsible for so much death and destruction. Just kill them. But no, we couldn't do that. And then obviously, like I said, but again, obviously story-wise, it's good. You're trying to show the morals of the heroes and all that stuff, how we're above such things. Even though Cloud was ready to do it except for everybody else. And then again, the craziness of the ending, just like, it opens up so many paths and avenues that it can lead to so many different things now in the third game that it's just exciting. It's super, super exciting. But those are my thoughts. That's my spoiler review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Again, I absolutely love this game. I highly recommend it. Please, if you've not played it, go play it. Play the hell out of it because it is totally worth it. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or comment down below. I appreciate any feedback. Subscribe. I'm streaming on Twitch, so please consider following me there at twitch.tv/justthegamerinc, all together in word, or you can click the link below. But thanks for watching, and until next time, take care and have a good game.